why I couldn't see it that well.
Okay.
I'm better now.
Yeah, it's looking good. All right.
Cool.
Think we're alive, but I'm just going to double check that everything is working for people that are listening in, making sure the audio is good.
See it that well. Yeah,
Um,
I'm better now.
yeah, it's looking good. All right. Okay, that sounds good to me. All right.
Good stuff.
Well, look.
All right.
So Tim, your name is Tim, right?
Yes. Yeah, it is my name. Yes.
Awesome. So I messaged you because I've seen you come up my comment section many
Yeah.
times over the years. I don't know how long, but I've seen you in there quite a lot, right?
A while. A while.
A
Yes.
while, yeah. Um,
I just.
cool. I'm
I
just
just.
making sure this is all good. But yeah, so
Yeah.
essentially, you're not a vegan. I'm a
No.
vegan. I'm in favor of animal rights. I want to get
Mm,
your position on animal rights. But before we do,
yeah. Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
just kind of get a bit of background knowledge on what your perspective on a few things are. So, do you think it's
Right.
important that as beings of society, we should
Mm-hmm.
be logically consistent in our values? We should behave in ways that are consistent with how we perceive the world. So, if like I value not hurting another human, for example,
Yeah. I
would you
think
say it's
most people would do.
important? Yeah, like I assume you are, and I'll ask you about
Yeah.
that. Do you think
Yeah.
it's we should be consistent in those values with our daily actions. So if we are against abusing another human, we should do what we can to not abuse another human in our daily actions.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Okay. So you just value being logically consistent essentially with your actions and
Yeah.
your values. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Cool. All right.
I'm
Now,
actually. I'm actually quite the pacifist, to be honest. I can't even imagine myself in a war or anything. I can't even, imagine ever, even, like, yeah, I can't really imagine just doing anything. I mean,
sure. Yeah.
I defend my family in my own house, but apart from that, um, I can't
Yes.
really kind of oppose to most kinds of violence in any
Yes.
way.
Yes, fair enough. Yeah. So essentially what you're telling me is that you're against harming other people when you're talking about humans in this case and probably other
Yeah,
animals. I mean like so you're in favor of human rights by the sounds of it. You want to protect the
yeah,
interests of humans to not be enslaved, abused and murdered, for example,
yeah,
whatever that
yeah.
is. In the case of when they're not harming you in any other way. So if someone's infringing on your right to life, well then you have a right to defend yourself and other people. But outside
Yes,
of that, you would prefer to not go out of your way to harm somebody,
of
especially
course.
if there's no reason to be doing that.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Do you carry that same? Well, actually, before we go to animal rights, what is the fundamental reason you wouldn't go out of your way to harm another human, murder a human, enslave a human? Like, what is it about humans that would be wrong? Why would it be wrong for me to do that to you?
It just, I don't know. It's just like I guess you've never, you've never done. I've never done anything to you, I don't think, apart from maybe
Yeah,
comment on your post a few times, but I've never done anything to you directly that would probably, make you want to murder me. Same with you. You've never
sure.
done anything that would make me want to harm you. Like, do whatever you want.
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
it's
So,
really like, you really,
but I
you
guess the question
have a,
is, yeah,
yeah,
I understand. So it's like we wouldn't
you have
harm
a
somebody
right to
without
what
any
you want.
reason to do it. But why would it be wrong for me to harm you? Like, what is it about you?
I don't know. Just, um, I, I have a family to look after as well, so
Yes.
that's kind of there my priority really. But so from that perspective, I'd be like, I don't really want you to, take me away from my family. So,
Yeah, so you want
um,
your freedom to be respected.
yeah,
You also feel pleasure and pain, obviously, as a sentient human being. Like,
yeah,
you have the emotional
totally
capacity in your brain. You have the
true.
capacity to feel pain,
Yeah,
physical and emotional. So therefore,
yeah,
you would you would seek to maximize your well-being, and
yeah,
you want to extend that to other human beings and seek to maximize their well-being as much as possible as well, and
yeah,
avoid harming somebody else.
yeah.
Fundamentally, because we're a sentient being who has a subjective experience.
It's true. It's
Yeah.
true.
Would you say there are any other reasons why you wouldn't do that to humans, or is it fundamentally because we want to avoid suffering, we want to maximize our well-being, and
No,
we want
yeah,
to live our life
that's
freely?
honestly. Well, yeah, there's that, but like what right do I have to, like, like there's a lot of what's the word? There's a lot of in the world. There's a lot of like divisiveness in the world. There's
Sure.
people who are trans and whatever, and males walk on a dress and people give them crap or whatever. Wear a dress. I couldn't give it. You're entitled to do that. Do whatever you want. I don't. It doesn't bother me. Like, and there's so much divisiveness with this and that and people's rights and all this stuff at the moment. Especially a lot of really kind of crazy people on the right, hate that kind of stuff and are staunchly against it. And I'm like, you
Yeah.
know what? Just live and let live, man. Like, what does it? How does it affect you?
Yeah.
Like it really doesn't. Like,
Yes. So what I'm hearing
just
then is it doesn't matter how someone like it doesn't we shouldn't discriminate somebody based on like physical appearance, the way that they act. We shouldn't discriminate based on skin color, their intelligence level, cognitive abilities, whatever it is. Fundamentally, we should just respect another human's right fundamentally because they're a sentient being. They want to
yeah,
experience well-being and they avoid harm and suffering.
yeah. And as I said, I've worked in mental health. I work in disability. They're no less people than me, just because they can't communicate in some situations. They just, it's not their fault. So we
Yes,
just, you know,
exactly.
yeah,
I agree with that. I'm on the position that we shouldn't harm somebody because fundamentally they deserve to live their life freely. I want to respect their well-being because they're a sentient being. Now, the
mm,
question then goes from there. Would we not
yep,
just extend those same rights that we grant to humans to animals simply because animals also are sentient beings? They
yeah.
experience well-being, they avoid suffering, and they also want to live their life freely as well.
Uh, but it's an equality issue, man. Like and let's go back to, I don't know if you're religious or whatever. In the Bible, God gave man authority over animals, right?
Yeah.
Evolutionary, we've done it for years. We're not equal to animal, as much as I hate to say it. We're the head of the food chain. It's just a fact. It's not going to change because a few of you want me to eat your a veggie burger. It's just
Yeah.
not going to change. Like, I don't mean to be rude on it, and you're welcome to want to eat a veggie burger. Like, go right ahead. But
Yes.
but it's not gonna. It's just not. I guess, when did it change? Because evolutionary, we've been, even in biblical times, God told people to sacrifice animals for him and stuff like that, right? So there's that, and then there's just evolution, whatever. Animals still eat other animals, like, if I throw a fish in with a shark, I'm pretty sure it's going to get eaten, right? So what if animals
Yes.
eat other animals? We're animals as well. We're human beings are a species of animal, yeah.
Yes, we are.
So when did it change that human beings are equal to, like, when did
So I'll
it
stop you there
kind
because
of,
I'm not saying that we're
yeah.
equal to other non-human animals. We are very different
Mm-hmm.
in the same sense that like there are humans who are different to one another. Like so I'm different to you for various reasons
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
very
yeah, yeah,
different to somebody that's of a different skin color in terms of physical
yeah,
appearance.
of
I'm
course,
less or more intelligent as compared to other humans. Fundamentally, I'm not
exactly.
saying that we're equal. I'm just saying that fundamentally we share the same characteristics that we would respect another human's right to life because they're a sentient being that wants to experience
Yeah,
well-being, wants to live life freely. Now, animals, non-human animals, are very different to us. They might be less intelligent. They might have very different physical characteristics,
yeah.
cognitive abilities, but fundamentally
Mm-hmm.
they share the same characteristics we respect in humans, which is they want to live their life freely. They're sentient beings. So why not respect them in the same way that you respect humans?
I don't know. I think it's an equality thing. Like, I honestly think it's an equality thing as well. There's, like, I generally just think it's an equality issue. Like, if I have a pet dog, it's my pet. It's not like, if I have two kids and a dog, I don't have three kids. I have two kids and a dog, right? As much as I love the dog and it's a family pet or whatever, it's still a dog. It's not a human. As
But I'm
much as
not I'm
some
not I'm
people
not
like.
trying to like I said, it's not I don't think
Yeah.
this is about equality
Sorry.
because when you respect human rights, you were saying it's not we don't have to be equal in all these characteristics. We just need to share the same cognitive we just need to share
Mm,
the same desire to live our life freely and that we're sentient. You said you respect human rights because they're sentient fundamentally.
yeah.
Animals are also
It's
sentient. Do you not see that as a contradiction that you're now bringing in
no,
other factors?
no, I don't,
Well,
because
it
we're not
technically
we're
is a
not equal.
contradiction.
We're not equal to. But
No, but they're
human
sentient.
beings,
They're
human
sentient.
beings are human beings, right? A human being in a wheelchair is still a human being, but, like, a dog is a dog, a cow is a cow, or whatever.
But you said you
Like, it's,
respect human rights because they're sentient.
of course, but
Animals are also sentient, so if you're not going to
yeah,
respect
but
their rights because they're sentient too, that's a contradiction in your logic. You do agree that.
mm, mm, no, I don't think it is. It's
Why,
all
why
about
would you not think
equality.
that's a contradiction? Because humans are sentient, therefore you respect their right to life.
Yeah,
Animals are
but that's
sentient,
human.
but you don't respect their right to life.
Well, saying I don't respect the right to life, but just because I eat it. This is another thing.
Yeah.
I don't consider myself an animal abuser because I'm not. I love animals, but I'm when this interview is finished, I'm still gonna eat them, and you're not. But,
So when you say that,
right?
you're not paying for animals to be abused and murdered.
I'm not.
Okay, so if you were to pay a hitman to go kill another human being, would you say that you're responsible for that murder?
I'm guilty by association. Yeah.
Absolutely. So why are you not guilty by association for these animals?
Because it's so like, you know how there's like 6 degrees of separation. There's probably like 20. It probably goes to here to here to here to here to here, and then I buy it. It's like when I'll bring up Tash. When Tash went and did the butcher and put the blood on the butcher thing, right? You were filming, I assume, right?
Yes.
Yes. So you got a court or whatever, and they say, "Oh, you, Jack, put the blood on the thing." You didn't directly put the blood on the thing, but you were filming.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm not actually being charged for that because I didn't.
No,
I didn't associate with that anyway. I literally just filmed it. I didn't. I didn't.
No.
I didn't elicit that to happen in any way. However, what I will say though,
but you filmed
it doesn't matter how.
So that means you're guilty. But it means you're guilty by association because you were filming it.
But I'm not. I'm not though. I'm not legally.
But I wasn't there when a cow got killed in a bloody slaughterhouse either. So how are you guilty?
Do you know how supply and demand works?
And you're not.
Do you know how supply and demand works?
Yeah, but how am I guilty by association if...
So when you pay for a product...
You were actually at the place when it occurred, so you're guilty by association more than I am.
Okay, look, you can make that argument. It's that you can make the argument that I'm guilty by association, but that's still going along with the same logic that I'm trying to make here. I'm saying that when you go and buy a product, the store has to replace it, and then they go down that supply chain. It eventually goes to the slaughterhouse worker who shoots the animal in the head on your behalf because you paid for it. That's supply and demand.
Well, maybe. I don't recall. I didn't pay for it. I paid for it after it happened.
So you do pay for animal products, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that means you're paying for the slaughterhouse worker down the supply chain to shoot an animal. They have to replace the product that you purchase.
Whoever owns the slaughterhouse worker pays his staff. I don't do anything in that.
Okay, just pause there. Are you near? Because did you say you could sit in your car? Because it's a little bit windy on my end.
Oh, okay.
Is it a bit far?
No, it's just across the way. I can go.
That would be great. That would be great. Yeah, that would be awesome. Thank you so much. I'll try to remember where we were in the conversation.
Yeah, give me a sec. Yeah, it is getting windy. So, hang on.
Yeah, I'm just going to listen to the live stream audio back and see what that sounded like.
Yeah, cool.
Conversation.
Yeah, give me a sec.
They have to replace the product that you purchase.
Whoever owns the slaughterhouse worker pays his staff. I don't do anything in that.
Okay, just pause there. Are you near? Because did you say you could sit in your car? Because it's a little bit windy on my end.
Oh, so you're guilty by association.
Is it a bit far?
No, that's across the way. I can go.
That would be great. That would be great. Yeah, that would be awesome. Thank you so much. I'll try to remember where we were in the conversation. All right.
Yeah, I'm just at my favourite beach on the northern beaches, but the car park's away from the... Huh?
Oh, that's all good. Yeah.
So I'm just walking back to the car because I'm in the park that's in front of it. So
yeah,
it's starting to rain anyway. I don't mind sitting in the car. It's not a problem.
Cool.
It's pretty quiet around here in winter. So.
Yeah. All right. So I think where we were, I can just talk for now and just try to summarize where we've been so far in the conversation. It's essentially that in a human rights circumstance, you would say that you are guilty of association if you pay somebody to murder another human or torture another human or enslave another human.
Yeah, because I'm directly related to it.
Yes. Now, let's say that there was a human product in a grocery store and there was like a piece of human flesh and you went and bought that human flesh. Yeah. And therefore, they have to replace that human flesh. So a slaughterhouse worker has to go and shoot another human to cut them up and put them back.
A human?
Yeah, so I'm just saying... like
human or an animal?
Sorry?
Do you mean a human or an animal?
No, I'm talking about a human in this hypothetical. I'll let you sit in the car. If you're at the car, I'll just wait till you get...
Yeah. Give me a sec. I'll just get myself ready.
Yeah.
Take my jacket off. Alright, there you go. Alright, cool.
Yeah, so let's say in this hypothetical situation... Yeah, that's all good. Thank you so much. So let's say in this hypothetical situation, you've got a world where people are consuming human flesh. Or so let's say in another country, humans are being consumed, and we're here in Australia. Yeah, like it does happen. But let's say that there's a supply and But let's say there's a supply and demand chain, and there's a grocery store that is literally supplying human flesh, and people are going in and purchasing it. Would you say that these people that are going in and purchasing it, creating a demand for slaughterhouse workers to go and shoot and kill other humans to replace it, would you say that person buying it is responsible for that person, the slaughterhouse worker, to go shoot another human being?
Yeah, I'd also say working in mental health. I'm sure I'll come across them at some time soon. So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
would you say that the person that purchased the human
yeah.
flesh in the grocery store is partly responsible for that murder?
Mm, no,
Really?
no, they've just eaten something. They're just
So you do realize that the human flesh industry could stop if no consumers purchased the human flesh.
yeah, of course, but
So that means that they are
it doesn't make
directly.
it doesn't make you responsible.
Well,
I'm
it
about
does make
20
you
times
responsible
removed
because
from.
what I'm saying is supply and demand. You are responsible for the suppliers killing those humans in this situation for you because you're buying it for this person who is buying the human flesh.
You could. That's. I don't agree, but we're going to go around in circles. But no, like unless I directly shoot the human in the head, I ain't responsible. Unless I'm,
But you said
or
earlier that if you pay a hitman to go and do it for you, so let's say you go and pay a
yeah,
slaughterhouse
that
worker to go and kill
yeah, but
another human being, you are
yep,
you are
that's
guilty of that murder too.
yeah, but that's because I directly said kill this guy, and that's intent. If it's just a random, say we all eat humans, right? We don't, but say we all do, and it's just a random human on the shelf, then whatever. But like, if I directly get that hitman to kill that human, that's intent. For me, intentionally, I want this guy dead. There's there's a separation of, if my next door neighbor's a murderer, just because I live next door to them doesn't mean I'm a murderer.
No,
I
no.
just know him,
But if you paid
right?
that murderer to go kill somebody, say go and
That's
kill this
a little bit
person,
different.
it would be different
Yeah,
because you're guilty of that murder as well. You're literally getting someone to go and do
yes,
it on
because
your
I asked
behalf.
someone to kill someone. Yes, of course. But
Do you know that is exactly the same as what a slaughterhouse worker does? They are
how?
killing animals because they are receiving money from consumers to do it.
But it's not. It's nothing to do with me. It's just on the shelf.
But you're the consumer. You're
Yeah,
paying
but
the slaughterhouse worker to do it for you.
not directly. The person who owns the slaughterhouse would be paying them.
Yes, because you're paying the slaughterhouse workers. It goes down a supply chain. You're literally paying eventually the slaughterhouse worker to shoot them because you're the consumer that created the demand.
This is my whole, and I don't mean issue with the opinion you guys have. I don't agree at all. I think it's rubbish. Like, just, you know, I I have an orange tree in my backyard. If I let the oranges fall off the tree, if trees are alive, if I rip the orange off, does the tree feel? I mean, I know plants don't feel pain. I know you're
No,
going to say
they're
that,
not
but you
sentient.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I pull the orange off the tree is different to letting it fall. Like,
Yeah,
whatever.
and
It's
there's
not
a big difference between pulling, like,
like,
harming a non-sentient living thing, which a tree in this example, and there's a big
yeah,
difference between that and then putting a knife or a bullet into the head of a sentient being. There's a big difference
obviously,
there. Yeah.
but I haven't done it. What about an example for you? Right? I have friends. We have chickens. We have 3 chickens. And we actually got 3 from my son's daycare or whatever, and 2 turned out to be roosters. Now I'm in suburbia in Sydney, in the suburb. I mean, you can't have roosters, man, because they cockadoodle. They were. I found out the second one was a rooster because it cockadoodle doodled at about 4:15 in the morning, which was quite interesting. Which was quite interesting. I went, oh shit. Anyway, so I went on Facebook and I found like a chicken lovers poultry page thing, whatever, and I said, hey, I've got a rooster. I want to get rid of this rooster. How do I get rid of it? Luckily, on both occasions, because there were 2 out of 3 were roosters, people came and said, I'll take it as a pet. One had their previous rooster die, and they live rural enough to have it not affect other people, so they took it and their pet and they welcomed it into the house. People who have pet or bought chicks and they became roosters have told me how they actually said to me, this is how you humanely kill it. Walk up behind it and ring it, blah, 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 right? So they were telling me how if you can't find it in a week, you're probably going to have to humanely go and kill it. And they gave me step by step on how to. You probably can't think you probably think they can't humanely kill it, but they were giving me like instructions on if you don't have this, if you haven't fobbed the rooster off in a week, this is how you humanely kill it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I don't really want to do that, but okay, So
Well,
yeah,
so this would be my points on everything you just said there. So first of all, as a vegan, I'm against forcibly breeding animals into existence in industry solely to have them as pets because we shouldn't be breeding somebody into existence to be solely dependent on us for our own personal pleasure or whatever it is. If we want to consume their products, get entertainment out of them. I disagree with that. In the same way I disagree with forcibly breeding like puppy farms and breeding cats into existence solely for our entertainment. I believe we should go out and adopt ones that have been forcibly bred into existence and have been neglected and got rid of, if from a shelter or something like that, because they deserve to be helped.
Of course.
But I don't think we should be supplying that whole. We shouldn't be paying for the forcible breeding of animals for that same reason, because we don't want to be creating those circumstances.
But they're going to breed anyway. The animals breed. It's what they're going to breed.
Well, they don't just breed. So in the case of like pet animals, they are forcibly bred by humans.
Well, okay,
And I'm against. I'm against the industry of forcibly breeding animals into existence for human.
Do you mean like humilators and stuff where they sell them off and is that what you mean? Like someone has 10 puppies and they sell them and that kind of, is that what you mean?
Yeah, like because they're doing it for monetary reasons and stuff like that, financial reasons. So in the case of the chickens, I would say the exact same applies here. And we shouldn't be putting ourselves in situations where, as a last resort, we're going to kill that animal because they shouldn't have been bred into existence in the first place. So that's my position.
I didn't know it was a rooster.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. This type of stuff can happen where we're forced into situations where we're going to have to murder somebody when that situation didn't have to occur in the first place, because we shouldn't be breeding animals into existence for our own pleasure. Now, when it comes to the idea of humanely killing somebody, yes, I would say you can't humanely steal someone's life for them, because the word humane means to show compassion or benevolence.
Yeah, but you said someone. Animals are something. They're not someone. That's another thing you do.
Well, no, they're not something. Something is an object, right? You're either something, an object, inanimate thing, a non-sentient thing.
You are a person. I am a person. A dog is a dog. You are someone. I am someone. A dog is something.
So
a dog is not
someone. You do agree that something refers to an inanimate object, a thing.
Like the post in front of me or something.
Yes, exactly. Yes, a thing, an object, a non-sentient thing.
But someone is a person.
Yes, it's the opposite of a thing, right? They're a person.
There's no word in between, but there's no, like, a dog's not someone.
Why are they not someone? They absolutely are. They're a sentient being who has a subjective experience just like
us. And I love dogs. Don't get me wrong. I think they're awesome, but
you don't think so the dogs that you've been associated with, they're not someone, they're just a thing to you. They're just an object.
The person. It's the family dog is not like someone. It's not like
they are someone though, man. They have their own personalities. They're literally persons.
Well,
they're individuals.
Human beings. They're individuals, yes. They're not people. Human beings are people. The only people you can call people are human beings.
Well, no, I think we've been raised to think that only humans can be people, but animals, technically speaking, are people too, whether you see them or not. Like, I was raised in the exact same way as you. I mean, I saw animals as its. I would refer to them as an it or something, not someone, often.
But there's also just like.
But that doesn't mean it's right that we've been raised to think like that. They are.
But there's also but there's normal everyday situations, man. I'm like at work today, and I'm at work to pay my mortgage, and some of my kids eat or whatever. A cow in a paddock eating friggin' grass and driving, doesn't have to go home and pay his mortgage and just shit like that, right?
So this is what I see as part of the issue with our species culture.
We are a level above that. They don't have to worry about all the shit. You know, I don't have to get up early on Saturday to take the cow's kids to soccer. You know, like it's like we are just above them. It's just the way it is. It's evolution. It's biblical if you believe in the Bible. Whatever. It's been we've ruled. We were given authority to rule over animals. It's never changed. It's not just because veganism's become cool. It's like, okay, great, you know, it never stopped being.
You're the one saying that we're above them. I mean, you can point at intelligence and say, yes, maybe we are above them in intelligence, but just because you think that, or other humans think that we're above certain animals based on whatever trait we want to point at, that doesn't give us a right to enslave and murder them, right? Because you wouldn't apply the same to other humans. Like, you might be above another human in intelligence or cognitive ability, but that does not give you the right to murder them or enslave them or objectify them, right?
No, but it's because we're human. Do you believe in a food chain?
And as we agreed at the start of the conversation, the reason you grant human rights and you protect the interests of humans is because they're sentient beings who feel pleasure and pain and want to live their life freely. Animals too. Whether you think you're above them or not, whether you think you're above them or not, they are sentient beings. They feel pleasure and pain. They want to live their life freely. So why not just grant them the same right? Now, when I said that to you, you started bringing in all these other reasons, but
We're
fundamentally,
the head of the food chain, man. Whether you believe in a food chain or not, it exists. We are the head of it. We've been the head of it for years. I don't. It hasn't changed since. Oh yeah, one
do
day
you
in
go to a
history.
grocery store to buy your food?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So you
not
literally have the option to be a part of a
not
food
veg.
chain that doesn't involve murder and violence.
Well, we also have a veggie patch, so
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just saying that you have the choice. You say we're part of this food chain. I agree we're part of a food chain, but that food chain doesn't have to involve murder and violence.
But
If you're in favor of human rights for sentience because they're sentient, you should equally be in favor of animal rights because they're sentient and do what you can to choose the option that does not involve violence, abuse, and murder.
But I'm not violent, abusive, or a murderer. I'm
But
none of the
look,
three.
it's no different to the analogy of paying a hitman to murder another human. You're literally
It is.
paying a slaughterhouse to murder an animal.
But I'm not playing a slaughterhouse to direct the.
You
I'm,
are, though.
I'm,
That's
I'm
how
so
supply
far
and
removed
demand
from that
works.
slaughter. Dude, I'm so far removed from that slaughterhouse. It could be like in another bloody state.
All right,
If
let's
I-
go with that. Let's go with that idea. So, okay.
If I
So
if
now
I
let's
say to you-
say,
if I say to you, Jack, I want you to kill somebody, that is a direct.
yes.
I am guilty by telling you out of murder. Murder means intent, right? I intend to have you murdered. Whether I pull the trigger or not, I told you
Yes.
I intend to have him killed. I don't intend to bloody.
I will
just
go with this logic. Okay, hear me out.
I just
hear
want
me
dinner.
out.
I just want dinner. There's no intent on it really. I just want to eat. I just want to feed my kids. I don't. There's no intent behind the cow in the paddock. I don't really.
Look,
whatever.
It sounds like you don't want to be identified as an animal murderer, for example.
But I'm not though.
Let's go with this. Hear me
You
out.
can think I am
Hold
all
on,
you like.
Tim.
I know
Tim,
I'm not.
let me just speak something out. So the issue, the difference you see between paying a hitman to murder a human and paying a slaughterhouse is that there are many steps in between when you're talking about a slaughterhouse. If you pay a hitman, you're doing it directly to the hitman goes and kills a person. But when you're going to a supermarket, you pay the supermarket pays the slaughterhouse pays the slaughterhouse worker, and therefore the death occurs. So we're talking about multiple steps. But now let's hold on. Let me speak to him.
In between, there could be a truck driver transporting it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go with that.
How do I know? I don't know.
No, yeah, right. There's multiple steps in between in that supply chain. However, let's say we just go back to the human example. Let's say we don't pay the hitman directly. We go to a friend, and you say, "Can you tell your friend to tell his friend who knows a hitman to then kill this person that I want dead?" Just because there are multiple people in between, does that not still take away your intent?
Still intent.
It's still intent, exactly. Now, when we're talking about paying for animals to be murdered, there's multiple steps in between, but the intent is still there.
Okay, I really, really, really like turkey mince, right?
Yeah.
Really like turkey mince. I make turkey mince meatballs. My kids love it. I make spag bowl with turkey mince. My kids love it, right? I didn't kill that turkey. I just went and bought it from the shelf.
But you did. That's exactly the point I'm making. You paid someone to murder the turkey on your behalf.
No, I didn't. I gave money to Aldi, who got it from, I don't know where they got it from.
So essentially what you're saying, you're eating animals without murdering them. How is that possible?
Because murder is intent. If I walk up to a cow and slit its throat, I killed it. If I go and buy some beef, I didn't bloody kill it. I just bought some beef.
So the person who killed the animal murdered the animal, right?
Yes.
And who paid the killer?
The person in the slaughterhouse did it. I didn't.
And who paid the slaughterhouse worker?
The boss of whoever owns the slaughterhouse.
And who paid the boss of the slaughterhouse?
Whoever when they probably buy their cows from an auction on a farm.
Yes, and who paid the farmers? Who paid the farmers who sold the cow at an auction?
Whoever bought the cow at the auction.
Yes, the grocery store, for example.
No, but that's way later. That's after.
No, it's not. The Coles worker, like let's say we're talking about Coles or Woolies here. Yeah. When they buy the food that they stock there, they have to pay the farmers. This is just basic knowledge, man. They have to pay the farmers to then raise the cow, send them to a slaughterhouse. So you literally are at the start of the supply. You are the demander. Your money goes all the way through the supply chain to the slaughterhouse worker. No different to the hitman.
Yeah, but it's what I was saying earlier. When you did that thing with Tash and you were filming, you were right there, and you don't think you're guilty by association. You were bloody filming it. You were right next to her.
Technically speaking, I'm not guilty because I'm not guilty of it. But if you want to make that argument, sure, that's the exact same logic I'm trying to say.
It's not the same logic, man. You were there. You were next to it when it happened. Right?
It doesn't matter whether I'm next to it or not. If I'm responsible for it, even if there's many steps in between, I'm responsible.
No, how?
Because you,
I,
as you
I,
agreed, if you
I
pay a hitman, but you have to go through like 10 people to get to the hitman, you're still paying the hitman. You're the
no,
person
I'm
with
not.
the initial
No,
intent to get someone
no, I'm not.
murdered. All right,
No, I'm
mate.
not.
Well, we're going in circles. We have to kind of stop it there because
That's
this
what I
is
thought.
basic
What I thought.
logic and common
What I,
sense.
but it's not though.
It
How can
is.
I be guilty? How can I be guilty by association and you are not? That is
You
absurd. When you
because
are
you have
closer to that
you
action than I
I
was.
actually think you have no idea how supply and demand works.
Oh, dude, I have plenty of idea how supply and demand
Well,
works,
you
but I'm not
don't.
responsible.
You actually don't
I'm not responsible.
because the slaughterhouse worker, their money comes from you. You are responsible for that murder.
I'm pretty sure Aldi gets it, but
Yes.
whatever. But
Okay, I'm going to
right,
spell it out just one very last time because we will
spell it out
just
all you
continue to
like.
repeat. Your money goes to the supermarket. The supermarket's money goes to the slaughterhouse. The slaughterhouse money goes to the slaughterhouse worker to then pay and shoot that cow. You realize that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, but there's probably a farmer before that who breeds them. So
You can bring as many people in between, but you are at the start of that.
why? No, I'm not.
Because you are. You're the one that's bringing the money into the supply chain.
I,
It wouldn't exist if you didn't give them
you
money and every other
you would
human gave them money.
you would call me like hypocritical, right? Right now, you would say I'm being hypocritical, right?
Yes, because
I've
the
just
reason I'd
basically
say you're being hypocritical, let me say, because you're in favor of human rights because humans are sentient.
yeah.
Animals are also sentient, but you're then saying you're not in favor of animal rights. That's just a
But where
contradiction because
no,
animals are
but we're the head of
sentient
the
too.
dude, but we're the head of the food chain. It's not about being sentient.
But you said for
Whatever.
humans it's about being sentient. Now you're just going to go back on your word.
For humans, it is because we're the head of the food chain.
Yes, but we're sentient.
So,
And the reason you want to respect human rights is because they're sentient. Now you're bringing in another factor that you've just changed. Oh, it's
well,
because we're at the head of the food chain.
but you realize you can't actually. There was a guy in one of your videos really early on who actually said something. You realize you can't actually murder an animal. Murder is a legal term. Murder is
It's a
actually
deliberate, like I would,
murder. Deliberately
fundamentally
killing
murder
someone else
is
is
to
murder.
deliberately kill
You can't.
somebody in
You
an
can't
unprovoked
murder an
manner.
animal.
Huh?
Murder is a legal term, like a legal
It can
term
be
for a human
legally
killing.
used, but just
Well,
because someone's not legally recognized as being murdered, we can see it as murder. It's a deliberate, unprovoked killing of somebody.
yeah, but it's nothing to do with me. Like, but
Tim,
how?
Tim.
How are you?
Oh goodness.
How am I a hypocrite for being 10 steps away from something? You were filming a criminal activity, and
That's
you're
got
not.
nothing to do with this conversation.
It is. It's guilty by association. We're just saying
Sure.
I'm guilty by
Okay, that goes
association.
with my logic. That's
You
literally
were
my
so,
logic.
but you were closer to the action than I was. I don't care what happens in bloody that. Just I'm hungry. I'll buy it. That's it.
Tim, it sounds to me that you're against animal abuse and murder because you don't want to be responsible. You don't want to identify as an animal abuser or a
I'm not.
murderer,
I'm not. But I'm not.
but
So
you
you can.
literally are.
Wait.
Your
A
money is
small
going to the slaughterhouse worker, the hitman for those animals. Those animals are
next time.
sentient. They don't want to be
Next
murdered,
time.
just like a
Next
human.
time I go to Aldi, I'll check my itemized receipt and see where it says slaughterhouse as part of my itemized receipt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do
Um,
that.
Look, Tim, these animals, they suffer immensely. These slaughterhouses are disgusting. I'm sure you've seen slaughterhouse footage before.
I
It's
have
absolutely horrible what these animals go through. They don't deserve this in any way.
maybe there's a better way to do it, but
No, there's no better way to steal someone's life if you have the option not to steal it at all.
someone's life or something's life.
They're someone. They're not an object. They're sentient beings just like you.
So if I walk up to a pig and go, "Do you want to live?" they'll answer me back, will they?
They don't have to answer back. There are humans that won't answer that question back, but they still
That's
don't deserve their life to be stolen from them.
Yeah, but again, humans are above animals. Like
You're the one saying that. But
fact.
even if
Dude,
you
it's a
think you're
fact.
above them, but does that
In a
justify
fact,
murder?
it is. I don't even know if you're religious, as I said. It's in the Bible. It's just evolution. It's just the way
Look,
it is. It's just in
just
that way.
because you think you're above animals or
Changed.
above somebody else, does that give you a right to murder them?
But I don't. I've never murdered an animal in my life. I'm an animal lover. I never will.
I know
So
this is where you're not understanding the logic of supply and
no,
demand.
I'm
But look,
understanding.
the point that I'm
Understanding a
trying to make,
person.
yeah,
It's. No, I know the point you're trying to make, but it's ridiculous trying to associate me with something 20 steps away. If I was the one that walked into a slaughterhouse and shot him in the head, absolutely I murdered them. I will own it 100%. If I'm 20 steps away from something, I'm not bloody responsible for it. Like
would you
that's an
murder
absurd.
animals yourself directly? Or
Um,
would you just choose the vegan option, knowing that you
if
don't have
I
to be doing that?
if I if I if would I murder them directly? No, but if I was a farmer and one of my animals was suffering, you know how they put them. I mean, you put a dog down if it's got cancer, right? Like I'd do that,
Yeah, for their own
right?
benefit. If it was the only option, if it was the only
Yeah,
option, I mean, obviously you would try to heal them if
of
you
course,
could. But if there was no other
yeah,
option,
of
right,
course.
that's for their own well-being. You don't want them
Mm-hmm.
to suffer. Now, Tim,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
different to most people I speak to because fundamentally, you sound like you're against animal murder. You want to respect animals' rights fundamentally. It's just that I think, and that's an admirable thing because a lot of people just say, I don't care. I just want to abuse animals. I don't really give a fuck about animals. But to me, it actually sounds like you do care
But
to a degree.
no one actually thinks that. It's just I don't want to be rude to you, but you vegans think we're all animal abusers just because we eat meat. Like that's
Oh,
absurd.
but no, but factually speaking, you are
Absurd.
paying for those animals to be murdered. You are responsible for that murder.
Well,
Now, I
no.
know we don't want to go back into this circle because it's a basic logic truth.
Well,
You're not going to accept that, but I'm still just trying to convey to you what these animals go through is completely horrible. It is
it,
disgusting. And
yeah, it
I'm
might
sure
well
you
be.
can agree when you watch
Might
slaughterhouse
well
footage
be.
like
But
Dominion, whatever it is. I just
might
want
well
to,
be. But
and if
what
you're
can
going
I
to
do?
continue to deny that you are responsible for it, um, it's a really
There's,
horrible thing. Now, if you
there's
were in
nothing
those
to
animals'
deny.
position, what
When
would you want?
there's nothing to deny. When did I walk into a slaughterhouse and shoot a cow in the head? I don't recall doing
Okay,
that.
we won't go back into that circuit, but if
I'm
you
just.
were in that animal's
When,
position, would you want your oppressor to go vegan?
I don't know.
Do you think that would be
What,
preferable? If you're an animal, you're sentient, you want to avoid pain, you want well-being for yourself, you want to live your life freely. I imagine that if
I,
you were in
Oppressor can
their
be
own
what they
body,
like.
you would want your oppressor to go vegan, right? And
They
let you
can do
go
what they
free.
want. They
No, but
can do
would
what
you
they want.
prefer that, like for yourself? Would you say that that would be the right thing to?
Well, what do you mean? If I was being oppressed, or what do you mean? If I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
oppressed,
If you were being oppressed just like these animals, would you say it would be
mm,
more ethical for somebody? It would be the right thing to do, morally speaking, to let you live your life freely.
yes.
Absolutely, and that's all the vegan is. They're just the
Yeah,
person that's
but
doing what
there's a
they
food
can
chain.
to live animals live freely, because
There's a
they're
food.
against animal abuse and
There's
slavery.
a food chain in order, dude. You just got to deal with it. Like it's just
Mate,
the way,
there is a food
right?
chain. There is a food chain, and you can pay for food that doesn't involve
Listen,
the murder of these
do you know what?
animals in
Do you know what I
slaughterhouses.
would pay for? They're starting to get lab processed meat that tastes like actual meat. I'll eat that, and then the cows won't be killed. Good, but I'm not eating your
Because you
veggie
don't
burger.
want to
I almost
murder
put it
animals, right?
no, just because whatever's easier.
You
If it
don't want
makes you guys
animals to be
happy,
murdered.
I don't really.
You're
Whatever.
saying that it would be more ethical to not murder an animal if you had the option to choose lab meat.
Well, I don't murder animals, but if they want to make you guys happy and have lab meat, and if it tastes good, I'm in. Whatever. I don't
Well, the
really
thing is,
whatever.
no, it's an
Right?
interesting question to ask
Right?
and thought experiment because we don't need lab meat to be vegan. Like you could literally be vegan after this conversation. However, you're saying that if
Have you,
there were lab meat, you would choose that option because you would say it's more morally preferable as compared to
have you,
having
have
an
you,
animal be murdered in a slaughterhouse, right?
have you tasted vegan meat? Ugh.
Oh, I have it most
Like,
days. It tastes just good, just fine.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right.
But you
I
don't even
almost
need
go
to
with.
eat vegan meat, mate. You can just eat a whole food, plant-based diet, whatever it is. You can get extremely tasty vegan food. There's no doubt about
Yeah.
that. So the question is just
It's not
you would
healthy for us.
agree that when you're talking about lab meat in this example,
Mm.
it is more ethical because an animal doesn't have to be murdered, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That I'd
exactly.
probably agree.
Yeah.
But I don't murder. I'm not responsible.
Well, the
Someone
reason
does.
you would choose the lab meat is because you don't want to be responsible for the murder you say is ethically
No,
wrong.
and also I don't want you guys telling me I'm an animal abuser when I'm not. That would be another reason. But you know what
Well,
I mean?
we're
Like,
going to continue to tell people that they are responsible for animal abuse and murder
yeah.
if they're literally paying a slaughterhouse to do it. Now, I know you don't agree with the idea that you don't actually agree with what supply and demand actually is. You
You know
don't
what? I
understand
know
it.
very well what my demand
No,
is,
you
but like,
don't though. You don't.
but
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 look. We can finish up. We can finish up very soon.
that's I
Unfortunately,
actually
we hit a brick wall where you're not owning up to the responsibility you have in terms of where you put your money.
I,
Um,
I if I shot a cow in the head, I'd own it. I have not killed an animal ever, and I won't. So
And it's just about you now owning up to you paying a slaughterhouse to
right,
murder animals on
right,
your behalf in very very
yeah,
horrific ways. And it's
but I've
and
never
look,
done. Right.
it is very it's disgusting. It's disgusting to be responsible for that because you wouldn't want to be
I know.
responsible for that for humans, but you
I'm,
are responsible for that for animals. And I know you're in denial right
I'm
now,
not
but please
responsible
just
for it.
come
That's
around to the idea because I didn't know what I was responsible for before I was vegan, and then I realized that I actually am responsible for that. It's literally how supply and demand
but
works.
then
And as
Jack,
you agreed at the start of the conversation, I'll just finish up with this. You agreed that we should be logically consistent with our values and our actions. And if you're against murdering animals, you think that's ethically wrong, and it would be morally preferable to not murder animals. It's just about
how
being consistent with those values in your daily actions.
how are you then not responsible for what I'm for filming Tash with the butcher? Like, how are
I
you
am
not? How
responsible
am I?
for that. That's
How am
just
I guilty by
I'm not
association
denying
if
that I'm
you aren't?
responsible for filming Tash if I'm filming Tash. Like it's just a
No,
weird deflection.
but but you are guilty by association of pouring the thing on the thing,
You could make that
pouring the blood
argument.
on the.
You could make that
But
argument.
but you're closer to the situation. I'm like 20 bloody people away from, and you're one person away. You were right next to her.
Yeah.
How am I guilty by association and you're not? To me, that's just absurd. That's ridiculous,
If that's your
right?
argument that I'm guilty by association, if I
Of
was
course you
guilty by
are.
association either because I'm right next to her doing it or I paid somebody to do it for me, well then you could say I'm guilty that way as well. And that's exactly what you're doing to these animals. You're
That's
paying for them
fair,
to
but
be
I
murdered.
have. Well, okay, sure. I'm not. I love animals. I don't abuse them or murder them. So
You love animals. Just pay for the
of
vegan
course I do.
option, bro.
Of
Be
course I do.
morally consistent here. Be logically consistent.
But
So simple. It's so easy to be vegan nowadays too, man. It really
well,
is.
sure.
Look,
I
Tim.
I I won't be anytime soon, but I have appreciated talking to you. I think I actually have. So thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we can finish up there, and I'll just finish with a statement that, look, you literally said you're an animal lover, and so long as you're not vegan, you're literally going against that value by paying for animals to be abused and murdered. It's something that you would be morally against, and it's just as simple as living vegan. Just choosing the option that doesn't involve that exploitation and murder. It's so simple.
Yeah, but you
Look, I know
go
you
around
might
saying,
not be digesting this right now, but every day
but
that
you
you choose
can't go
not to
around
be vegan,
saying
you're
we're
going to be
just
responsible
responsible
for
for
that.
it. You can't
Okay.
just, otherwise you get pushed in the water by a fisherman again if you go around accusing people of that kind of shit, right?
Sure,
Come
sure,
on,
yeah.
like,
Yeah, look,
come on,
but that's the thing. I'm going to continue to do it because it's a truth. And it's a truth that
do it.
matters
Come on.
because the victims deserve someone like myself speaking up for them. Because you would want me to speak up for you too if you were in the slaughterhouse.
Yeah, it's a bit different humans to animals, man.
We're both sentient as we agreed earlier on.
There's a pecking order. There's a food chain.
Okay.
It is what it is. Thank you,
Thank
Jack. I appreciate
thank you so much, Tim. Please
it.
message me if you do have any questions about this
Yeah,
conversation in the future.
take care of yourself, huh?
All right. Take care. Look after the animals that you are paying to be murdered. Bye
Take care.
bye. All right. Okay. What did you guys think of that? I think he is just in complete denial of how supply and demand works. This is just fundamental logic about supply and demand. And if he just owns up to the fact that he is responsible for it, the murder of these animals, he could then just take the next step and he should do it right now and not pay for them to be murdered. He's an animal lover. And that's the one thing that I think that sets him apart from other people I've debated is that he is completely honest with his respect, his values that he cares for animals. He doesn't want to be abused and murdered. He doesn't want to identify as an animal abuser or murderer. So much so he's going to deny supply and demand facts, just the way it works. He is responsible for it. He just hit a brick wall there. But look, oh man, I just hope that he just aligns his values with his actions. Sorry, other way around. Aligns his actions with his values of respecting these animals' rights to life in the exact same way he respects human rights, because humans are sentient, animals are sentient. Be logically consistent. He wants to be logically consistent, as he said at the start of the conversation. So let's just hope he does that. But that's it. That was just another little debate, little conversation I can have with people that are commenting in our comment sections on social media. So it's great that I can have these conversations with them and hold them accountable. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching.